Hello, everybody. It is I, Amer, back again, even though it hasn't been very long at all, with a new draft in toes and a new draft. Well, that's man. I let's just jump into it. Intros are never my strongest point. Okay, welcome back for the newest draft league that I am part of. Let me present you the LTM, or the low tier mayhem. I did explain what that I'm gonna play in it in my last video, but yeah, this is now dedicated to this because the draft analysis and everything. Yeah, LTM, where it is only low tier, the strongest Pokemon you can think of, like I don't know, Dragonite, Palafin, Chiampao, Flight. I guess some of them are just banned as a whole, but just think the most strongest common Pokemon that normally are allowed right now. We don't use them. They're not there. They're gone. They're snapped into disintegration. We're probably gonna reassemble them another time, but right now they're not here. And today, your Monster Ice Cubes will do their best to win after they failed in BBR recently. Now, obviously we know what the draft analysis is. It's just we just told the Pokemon we have. It's really that simple. So I'm just gonna keep it simple and short, probably, because it's just that simple. Like okay, let's do it exactly. All right. So of the order, I was the fifth pick, which is a reasonable place to have. And for my pick, I was able, or rather, I decided with Cleavor first. And yeah, as you can see, I assembled a little, uh, a little thingy just to show you. Like I just have, it's just simple. Okay, that's a Cleavor, my first pick, which for me is a very solid pick. Obviously, in lower tier, the steel type will not be as good as the stronger steel type. So Cleaver's dual typing being resisted by steel will not be as bad. It only has to worry about fighting types though, that also resist the combination of bug and rock. But Stone Axe, great move. I can just set up Stealth Rock while doing damage, so I don't have to worry about ever setting them up. I can just use Cleavor and do this for me. And of course, also has strong X Scissor or U-turn as well. Also has close combat for set steel type if they do appear, obviously. And pretty much the best thing you can run on it are like Scarf to get the big damage as fast as possible, or even like some setup set with Swords Dance maybe. So yeah, I Cleavor. I thought it would be very cool to have. I haven't used it yet. I used Hammerot, didn't do good with it, so hopefully Cleavor I'll do better with it. And then when the wheel went back at me after a whole round and almost the second one, I grabbed what I thought to be a Pokemon that shouldn't be allowed in low tier at all. Here comes Superior. We all know what Superior does. It's just Lee Storm and Contrary. Pretty simple, right? Indeed. And for me, that might be too much for low tier, in my opinion. Because come on, I can spam a big, strong move with the only drawback being like maybe a chance to miss. But besides that, just gets stronger and stronger. And if I feel like it, I can just cripple you with knockoff, leash sheet, glare, or just anything really. And it's super fast as well. Or you can just support a team with set glare to paralyze everything. Yeah, I, I love to use superior. I know I have Cleavor, which I haven't used yet, and then I just go superior, which I Pokemon I'm familiar with. When I normally want to use as much new stuff as possible to, be different. But I felt like superior and low tier was a nice exception to have. Yeah, exactly. Thank you for the explanation, Amo. This is superior. All right. All right. Then who about? Yeah. Okay. Then after this, I grab the valuable belly bolt. Pure electric type, good decent bulk, can be very annoying to deal with if you don't have a ground type. And if you want to use your ground type, have a superior that can just come in at you and just start wreaking havoc. So I thought it would be a nice pairing to have with superior and Cleaver as well. Also, I can pivot out with Volt Switch if I get it right. It can heal because I slack off, or even Parabolic Chart if I want to use with the Electromorphosis. It also has Muddy Water and Toxic, so it can in fact deal with the ground types. Yeah, it's a belly bolt. We know a good belly bolt is. So I secured it as soon as possible to make sure I can grab it before any other person can use it for themselves. Then for my fourth pick, I went with my grounded poison type Monkey Dory. Yeah, I mean, I know, I know it doesn't seem. It didn't got the best impression when it first debuted, or even right now. So low tier is kinda its chance to redeem itself, because it still has a high base special attack. It's still fast. Toxic Chain is also a good ability to have to poison anything by just attacking them, and it has momentum. So again, it's another Pokemon that technically it loves having to deal with low tier steel type more. And even if they're here, it has moves to deal with them, like the focus blast or even like U-turn or parting shot to just force the steel type in and just get out. If I don't want to miss focus blast, yeah, I want to use a monkey Dory. I haven't used it. It's like the only last member of the loyal tree that I haven't used yet because I use Okidoki, I use Fertility, I just use Petarant. Yeah, I'm only missing Monkey Dory, so that's a good reason to get it now. Out of the way. And then next, okay, I know I've been a little fast on explaining the Pokemon. I mean, it makes sense. I don't have to stay here and just take an hour for every one of them. Which I don't know if there are any people that doesn't like this or prefers that way. But here comes the big explanation of Amo because obviously it's the one that needs the most explanation because it has the whole mechanic towards it. Here comes the Terra captain of the team, Reggie Gigas. Yep, I'm going Terra Reggie Gigas for this league, even though some Pokemon that like higher point were allowed to be Terra. I decided to be special and going low tier Terra. But now can I just explain the rules for the Terra type? So like BBR, it's one singular Pokemon that can terrestrialize. For the like if you want to change, you have to do a transaction and all that. But the different rules about terrestrialization this time compared to BBR where it was two types of your choice, this is any of the 19 terabyte that you want. You can use at any time that you want to. But the catch is that you have to let your opponents know what is your Terra type, also known as Terra Preview. You probably know this more if you're like playing leagues on Showdown, where there's a tier where you challenge your opponent, where it's called Terra Preview, where it's basically at the beginning of the match, the game will tell you what is the Terra type of every Pokemon, which is basically that. Of course, there's no such function in game, so the closest we can do to replicate it is by simply just telling our opponent what is their Terra type. We kind of actually did this in GBU a little while back when it was in the Teal Mask DLC, but compared to GBU, it was still limited Terra types. Here, it's free Terra. It can be any of the 19 type. It when is this kind of rule set. I do particularly enjoy using a normal type more because normal type tends to learn almost any type of moves there is. So meaning they're more flexible in free Terra than other Pokemon. Not to say that other Pokemon are bad, obviously not. I just thought, I mean, there's multiple other Pokemon with Terra Sterilization I wanted. So why using Reggie Gigas then? Well, I mean, I did say I was looking at other Pokemon to Terra Sterilize. I was thinking about picking Pokemon like Sceptile because, high speed, unburdened, either physical special attacker, extra coverage or power, the whole 9 year of Terra basically. So when I was looking at my option of what I wanted to use the most, my eyes then fell on Reggie Gigas, and I remember because For those are I have no idea, I do help Envy in his leagues game, like in prep. Like it's mostly just mock and testing. Like and sometimes I will just give him option of like what Pokemon he could acquire when he's drafting. Like sometimes, and I know he wanted Terra Regigigas for the last season of SPL, so season 2 SPL. And I was behind it because Terra could let Regigigas help itself to stall turns by switching a certain type to better match up against a certain threat to sell better. But Envy ended up just disliking the Regigigas before even beginning the match, as we discovered that body press was effective at slow start because he thought that he could just bypass slow start's attack drop by using body press, except it is affected by slow start nonetheless. Probably because the way it works is that it just literally replaces your attack stat with your defense stat, and then it affects with slow start. I don't know. I think that's the reason why. And then when he thought about using special Regigigas to just because special attack isn't affected by slow start, even at its highest and its attack stat at its lowest, Regigigas' attack stat is still higher than its special attack, so Terra Blast will always be physical. And outside of Terra Blast, Regigigas doesn't really learn any special move besides like I think Earth Power, Icy Wind, and Focus Blast. I think, and maybe more, but it's very limited. So he just ended up dropping Regigigas for Farragraph. So when I was looking at Regigigas, I was like, "Will Regigigas really that bad with Terra?" I looked up some stuff that I didn't originally when I tested for Envy to confirm his doubts about Regigigas. And it's got a few more points that I could make Regigigas work. So I decided to do where Envy didn't, and will use Regigigas with Terra myself. And it will hopefully be fun because Regigigas is just that kind of Pokemon where it's fun to see it going because slow start is normally bad, but when you get through it, it could be satisfying. So I'll see how I'll do with Terra Regigigas, and hopefully it will not disappoint me. All right, on that explanation now being finally done, I can just finish the rest of the draft. Wait, after this, I got an Incineroar. A dark type, a fire type, has Intimidate, it can pivot. Basic. It might not be VGC, but it's still Incineroar that can pivot out. And it's still do the good damage. Also, it has Stab knockoff as well, whereas Regigigas is superior with other knockoff user. It can also spread Burn if I want to because it has Will Wisp. Yeah, it's a good pivot. It can soak hits, and it can just then bring in a partner versus an opponent that has a stats drop because of Incineroar's whole bag of trick. So yeah, that's Incineroar for you. So after Incineroar, I believe, yep, my next pick was in fact Arboliva, which if you remember in GBU, I did drop this Pokemon before, but then drop it immediately. But after seeing how Joey was able to use it in SPL, and despite the fact that he had it with Terra, and I will not, I felt like I was harsh on Arboliva, so I gotta give it another chance. And I thought it also could be useful for the team. Like, yeah, sure, I was superior for as a grass type, and Regigigas as a normal type for Terra, but having grassy terrain can be great team support for the team. Like, helping Regigigas stall its turn by having passive recovery or forcing my opponents to not run Earthquake, which can make it more annoying to deal with Belly Bolt. And also, it strengthens the Storm from Superior to make it stronger before it gets its contrary going. And beside that, yeah, it can also just be a good team support. That's it. I thought that was good to try it out. Alright, and then next, I went with some nonsense, a Pokemon that if you see it sounds weird to have. I grabbed a Golduck because crack, crack. Yeah, it's a Golduck. I never use Golduck. I want a Golduck. That's a good explanation for a Golduck, right? Crack. Alright, after that, I just went with a Golurk because I still have a ground type yet, and Golurk was pretty much the best one I could find, which is pretty strong. If somehow there's a matchup where I want rocks but not Cleavor, he's there, I guess. But most importantly, it hits damn hard. Like, if I don't have Arboliva, I can just use Earthquake or just any ground type move I to bring it. I believe it got knocked out this gen as well. It kept Poltergeist. Really, it just hits hard because ground and ghost are too strong. Offensive type, sure, it has weaknesses, but if it gets to hit, it gets to hit so hard. That's just gold lurk for you. And then when I was looking at what was left on the board, I realized that the highest tier Pokemon left was Lucario, and realized it fits my team great, so I just grab it because I still didn't have a fighting type, no big priority. Lucario fixed both of these, and I know to call Lucario a good steel type would be exaggeration because it's frail. It does have the resist of the type, so it can get to set up, obviously, or just punch hole because it's Lucario. It punches so hard, and having it on my team will make sure that I don't have to face it myself. So yeah, and I believe there were people that thought about getting Lucario this late, so I just punished them by grabbing Lucario myself. So yeah, pretty evil, but I love it. And then last, I didn't know what I wanted. Normally, when I don't know what I want for a last pick and I don't have an ice type, I grab an ice type. Now I did have Ice Cube previously, so I might as well just maybe take a break. Like I've brought him many times this generation. Not no hate on him, obviously. He's the goat, but I do need to let him like some vacation. So I thought about getting Articuno because it also gave me a flying type. But I just set up with Glaceon just because of the high special attack that I thought was nice, and especially again for the reason of steel type. But I also have Pokemon to lure those steel types. So yeah, it's a Glaceon. It has evolution, move pool, where it's basically just ice and support. But why not? Last time I used Glaceon was in Uber's league, so I think it's gonna be more forgiving in low tier. But yeah, that that's the draft. So this is what I'm gonna be rocking unless I do some transaction. Hopefully I don't want to, hopefully I will not because I don't really want to. I think I like my draft overall. And hopefully this will be the draft that will lead me to victory. And for this to happen, I will need to work my hardest, like always do. So on that, I hope you guys will be happy to see some low tier for this generation. And on that, I will talk to you guys back on week 1, where it's gonna be against D-Ray, funnily enough. I don't know why I'm fighting him week 1 multiple times this gen, but I do. So yeah, see you guys later.